Okay, so I'm back as Dr. Nikki. I wasn't going to do it, and then I thought, okay, I'm probably expecting it. And then I thought, well, I should probably have a volunteer. And I said, Andrew, would you like to be a volunteer? That's the reaction I got. I was up all night. I needed a prop. I'm Dr. Nikki, reluctantly. And I wanted to volunteer, and he said no. You know, here I am, very little preparation, makeshift tools, not really a trained doctor, and he doesn't want to be my volunteer. The same thing happens when you deliver presentations. If you're not prepared and you don't have the tools and you're not going to be up on the delivery, you might have some problems. So I'm actually here to help you give your presentation a facelift and not Andrew. So let's talk about some preparation, and that's where we're going to start, and not on Andrew. So preparation. The first thing we want to talk about is following a timeline, and the way you're going to do this is you're going to want to check, basically, if you're delivering a presentation, find out what some of your deadlines are. Are there due dates for getting handouts submitted? Are there due dates for submitting materials? So find out what those are. Give yourself a timeline. Sometimes I'm not that good at this. Sometimes I pull things off at the last minute. Make sure that you're getting your timeline in order. And then find out how long your session time actually is and use that time wisely. I like to break up my overall outline and think, well, how long is this section going to be? Sometimes I'm really good at that and write notes, and sometimes I'm very bad at that, and timing is not a good thing for me. So make sure you're using that timeline, or that time wisely, and leave some time for question and answers at the end. Then, as an IT person, I'm going to wear the IT hat. Make sure that you are making those special requests early, especially those involving projectors, software requests, even your room configuration and setup. There's nothing IT people dislike more than having you call us into a room that you haven't even seen yet and then troubleshooting something in the middle of a presentation. So make sure that you're getting those requests out. And then prepare backup copies. I have a 3x3 rule, and that's 3 different formats. PowerPoint, if you're using PowerPoint, it's a PPT file. I say PPT, sometimes I break that rule and use PPTX, but not everywhere you go has the newest version. A PPS, Lance will back me up on this. PPS is the finished version, so even if you don't have a PowerPoint, the PPT is the PowerPoint show. That's the finished product that will execute even if you don't have PowerPoint. And finally, something I learned from my husband is that even if they have permissions locked down on the machine and it won't execute a PowerPoint or a PowerPoint show, if you can publish it as a 1 slide per page PDF file, when all else fails, make a copy of a PDF. Now, once you have those 3 formats, this is where the 3x3 comes from, save it in 3 different locations. Maybe put one on the web, maybe put one on a portable hard drive or a CD, and one on your laptop. You never know what could go wrong. You know, your internet access could be off, you could forget your hard drive, your laptop copy might not work, or they might not have a hookup for your laptop and you might have to use something else. I'm a little bit OCD about that, so 3x3 rule works out really well. Practice. Don't just, I get a little lazy about this one, don't just practice in your office like I did. Then you start bursting out laughing about the little joke that you're going to play on Andrew and make him red-faced. But try to practice in the venue where you're actually going to be. You never know what little quirks the room might have. Practice with the files that you're actually going to use. So that way you know the setup of the room, you know that maybe the mouse doesn't have batteries in it, that it happens to die because people leave it on. You never know what might happen. If you can't practice in that room or with that equipment, try to get as close to the actual setup as you possibly can. And then, if you, on the day of, arrive a little early. So if we've done preparation, and then we can move on to our content. Something that you want to do is state your main idea, and your main idea should relate back to, if you're doing this for a presentation for a conference, your main idea should relate back to your abstract or your proposal. And then all of that should relate back to every slide of content. Reinforce your key points as much as you possibly can. As a teacher, I always make people I repeat things as much as I can, or I make people repeat back to me. I might use Andrew as an example over and over and over again to drill things into people's heads, or just to embarrass him and put him on the spot. But the idea is, if you have a main idea, use it. And if you have a theme to help you get your main idea across, that's a mnemonic device you can use to help people remember. So reinforce your key points as much as you possibly can through your images, through repetition, any way that you can get. Then create an introduction. And one of the best ways you can do an introduction is not, hello, my name is Nikki Massara Kaufman, but with something memorable. Whether you attack people with plastic knives or have a personal story, but provide something that will open it up, because your introduction is when they decide whether or not they're going to sleep or sneak out of the room or open up their laptops, whether or not they're going to check out on you. Provide an overview slide. You may have noticed on that slide with the circle and the image, it seems to repeat throughout this presentation, and you'll see that repeat again. It has all of my main points, and they check off as you go along. Basically, I've taken my main sections, I've duplicated that slide, and that gives you a signpost or a transition so that you can see where you are in the presentation and you have an idea of what my bullet points are. I've now used repetition, and I've given you an overview. It also provides me with a logical order. What's my logical order? I'm taking you from the preparation of a presentation all the way through the question and answer session following the delivery. And you should consider your audience. When I think about my audience, I think about 4 questions. What do you need to know? What do you want to know? Sure, what do you need to know to do your job is important, but I know that beyond that, we all need to know things, but some of us also want to know things. We're curious about things. We want to be entertained when we're here. What do we already know? There's a little bit of an overlap. If we don't address what we already know, some of us are going to be a little bit bored. And then what don't we need to know? We don't want to hit people with a lot of jargon or a lot of overly technical concepts if we don't really need to know it, because we're all very busy people.